Week 3 of VCT Americas Stage 1 just concluded, and the stakes couldn't be higher when it comes to going for those playoff spots. A lot of shifts in the standings this week. Some teams expected to get wins getting them, but some teams really desperately in need of them couldn't get them. So we're here to talk about all 6 games that happened in the VCT Americas and talk about the implications going forward. So this is the board we have today. We will be recapping all 6 of these games, starting with the Friday games, which means we are starting with the first game of the weekend, Sentinels versus Evil Geniuses. Sentinels, coming off of that loss versus Crew, really needed this win against EG, a team that many consider to be one of the lesser teams in this region, so Sentinels were the heavy favorites, and they came out the heavy favorites as well, getting 2 very solid wins in a 2-0 victory, not letting Evil Geniuses get much of anything going on either of the maps. Looking at map 1, we have Haven. This one ended up being a 13-4 victory in favor of Sentinels, this one being Evil Geniuses map pick. It was pretty obvious this one was going to go Sentinels' way pretty quickly in this match. The first half ended up being 10-2, Sentinels going on 3 separate round win streaks. This one pretty obvious that it was going to go Sentinels' way pretty quickly, ended up being 10-2 at the half. Sentinels took both the pistol and went on multiple different win streaks. EG were able to get that second pistol, but the hill was too big to climb, and Sentinels, as soon as they got the momentum back, they didn't let it go. All negatives on the side of EG when it comes to the plus-minus. Superman doing his best with 11 kills on the Omen. Ye, who's been pretty good on Cypher lately, struggling in this matchup, only 8 kills on this map. Whereas on the side of Sentinels, all positives, only 1 player going even, that's Zelsis. Narrate did a very good job leading the pack with 21 kills, he was plus 12. Moving on to Pearl, this one was Sentinels pick and ended up being a 13-6 win for them. Sen would get the pistol yet again. This half would be a bit closer than the first half of Haven, having a 7-5 lead at the half for Sentinels. EG doing a little bit better in this one, but then their defensive side just could not hold up against Sentinels' attack. Sentinels winning 6 rounds on that attack side to get this one done quickly. Ye doing better in this map. He ended up playing the Yoru, so we're seeing Ye flex to a lot of different roles, and that definitely does concern me. On this map, we saw him play Phoenix at kickoff. Now he's playing Yoru on it right now. It's a bit up in the air what he's going to play when it comes to every map right now, it seems. On the side of Sentinels, very similar numbers to map 1. Neri yet again leading the pack with 18 kills, but the top fragger was Zekin with 21. So a very solid game for all the players on the Sentinels team. Looking at the team MVPs on the side of Sentinels, we have Narrate, who went 39, 19, 17 for plus 20. He's been needing a bounce back game. He finally got it. On the side of EG, not a ton of praise to go around, but Superman did go 22, 20, and 8 for minus 6. So this was a solid and expected win from Sentinels. If they had lost this one, it would have been a very concerning loss, but they got it done, so all is well. And for Evil Geniuses, this definitely hurts their playoff chances quite a bit. They are 1-2 in the group stage so far. They are tied with 2G, but they're losing when it comes to round differential, so they're currently out of a playoff spot. It looks like it's probably going to come down to either EG or 2G. Loud look pretty out of it right now. We'll get to them in a bit. So EG are going to need to go on a bit of a run here to end the stage if they're going to want any hope of making it to playoffs. But that last spot is still wide open, so they can definitely do it. They just need to get their stuff together. Moving on to the second game of the Friday, we have 100 Thieves versus Loud. 100 Thieves were coming off of a solid win against Evil Geniuses last week. Loud coming off of a loss against 2Game, one of the more unexpected upsets in the VCT Americas so far this year, so they were really hoping to finally get a win during the stage. However, this would not be the day. Despite having a very solid map 1, Loud did what they seem to be doing right now and collapse. Looking at map 1, we have Haven. This one ended up being a 13-6 win in favor of Loud, so they did start this match off pretty effectively. They won the first 5 rounds in a row. 100 Thieves would start to claw back a bit, but ended up being 8-4 at the half for the Brazilian team, and then they continued that momentum into the second half by winning the first 4 rounds. 100 Thieves would get 2, but 1 more was only needed from Loud, so this one was over pretty quick. Cryocell's doing his best to keep his team in it. He went 14, 14, and 7. He was the only player that didn't go negative on his team. On the side of Loud, we had a debut of a new player, Luxo, and he had a really solid game, definitely looking like a good addition despite the loss. He went 20, 11, and 3 in this one. On the Cypher, he was plus 9. Kawazine was leading his team in rating with 1.31, with 14 kills, 7 deaths. And Digizin was continuing his strong play from the last couple games with 19 kills. So this one started off really well for Loud. They just could not convert that momentum into a win. At first, on the second map of Icebox, as you can see, it looked like they were going to bring this one home, but it just fell apart for them. While 100 Thieves were able to take that pistol, Loud would respond by winning 5 rounds in a row. 100 Thieves couldn't get more than 1 round in a row going on that first half, but then the 9-3 curse happened. Loud in the driver's seat heading into that second half. 100 Thieves would take the pistol and then do essentially what Loud did to them in that first half, but kind of worse. 5 rounds in a row after losing round 15 for 100 Thieves. Loud would get one to bring it to 11, but that was all they would get. Cryocells leading the pack for his team, being the main reason why they won in this one. 30 kills, 18 deaths, he was plus 12. Very strong performance by Cryocells. He looks like one of the best players in the Americas right now. Asuna on the Gecko, so flexing to Initiator. He had 17 kills, so he had a pretty decent game overall. On the side of Loud, Luke Show would continue his strong play. 23 kills on the Killjoy, so playing a role that doesn't need to get all the kills, he did do a pretty good job. However, Vinny really struggled in this map, only 11 kills. Digizin on the Reyna went 15 and 19, he was -4. Not exactly the duelist that I would have gone with, and that was pretty evident by how their defense side was pretty bad. And then 100 Thieves with the momentum would continue that into Split, this one being a 13-8 win for them. Loud would yet again start off strong by winning the first 4 rounds in a row, so 100 Thieves having pretty slow starts to maps during this match. However, they would recover later. They would end up having a 7-5 lead at the half, and then Loud would win that second pistol, so again, they're in the driver's seat, they can start to snowball, but it would not happen. They would get around at round 16, but then 5 in a row from 100 Thieves would be what ended this one. Cryocells on the Sage, so they're sticking with that pick on Split. 24 kills for him, he had a rating of 1.81. Absolutely insane match from Cryo. Xander with a very solid game as well, 17 kills for him. EU looking strong too on the Tejo. On side of Loud, once again, the new addition, Luxo, in for 2 weeks, had a very good game. 23 kills for him on the Viper. He looks like a great pick. However, the more experienced players on this team ended up not looking very good. Digizin showing his inconsistencies only with 11 kills. Vinny once again struggling. He's had some pretty bad maps during stage 1. I know he looked pretty decent overall during kickoff, but he's looking quite rough right now. Only 6 kills for him. Not a big fan of that number. Pancata struggling too, only 9. Just an absolute collapse from what was a very solid first map and second map, at least for the first half. Looking at the team MVPs on the side of 100 Thieves, no one else but Cryo should be mentioned here. He got 68 kills, 44 deaths, 23 assists, and he was plus 24 on the match. On the side of Loud, gotta give it to the new addition. Luke Show went 66, 43, and 10 for plus 23. Overall, very solid win for 100 Thieves. They definitely need to clean up their first map jitters. They are starting maps pretty slow right now. However, they ended up getting a very crucial win for their playoff chances, so can't really complain too much. Cryo is looking absolutely incredible right now. Currently, he leads the entire Americas in VLR rating with 1.39, so he's been a huge help for this team that has needed that superstar power. So 100 Thieves could be dangerous if they continue this strong play. And for Loud, I don't know what happened to this team, man. This team had a really strong kickoff, but we haven't seen that same team yet. This match was probably the most desperate game of the season for them. They really needed this win to have a chance at making it to playoffs. Now they're 0-3. They're last in their entire group behind 2G, and now the chances of making it to playoffs are extremely slim. If they got even one win over the past 3 weeks, they would have at least been in a playoff spot or a decent spot to make it to one. Now it just looks like it's complete disaster, and we shouldn't expect this team to make much of anything right now, so it's just all bad on the side of Loud. Moving on to the Saturday games, we have Crew versus 2G. This one ended up being a lot closer than a lot of people expected. 2G surprising a lot of people last week by beating Loud 2-0, but the thinking was Crew is a better team than Loud, looks like probably the best team in that entire group, so that same kind of upset shouldn't happen, and it didn't, but 2G definitely made a game out of this one, being able to beat Crew on that ascent pretty convincingly as well. However, Crew, showing a lot more composure than Loud did, shut down the chance of that upset and did a really good job at closing this one out. Looking at map 1, we have Icebox, this one being Crew's pick, and it did go in their way pretty convincingly. 13-6 was the final scoreline. 2G would win the first pistol, so starting this one off strong, but then Crew would respond by winning 4 in a row, and then ended the half by winning 4 in a row again. Brought that into the second half by winning the second pistol, so another 4 in a row, so 8 rounds in a row for Crew. 2G would get 2 rounds at round 17 and 18, but this one was over quick at round 19. For 2G, Louise looked pretty good on this one, 17 kills on the Viper for him. 2G's new addition in PXS struggling on this one, only 7 kills, and Gobert, who's had a pretty solid year so far, only 6 kills on the Tejo, so pretty rough map from him. On the side of Crew, Kesnet leading the way with 23 kills, looking very hot right now. All positives on the side of Crew. Melzer and Mazzino were doing a very good job in this map as well. However, moving on to Icebox, as I mentioned, this one would go in the way of 2G. Crew getting pretty punked by 2G on this map, especially in that second half. Seems like they got comp diffed on this one. 2G would have a 6-2 lead at round 8, winning the pistol, and then they would win the second one too. Crew would end the first half by winning 4 in a row to make this one a tied game, but then 2G 2G would win 7 in a row to close this one out. So Crew not even getting a single round win on that attack side. Very strong defense by 2G here. Luis once again leading the pack for his team, 21 kills, probably his best game of 2025 so far. Gobert with a nice bounce back map, 13 kills on Teo for him. On side of Crew, a lot of negatives here. Adversa was the only player to go even, 11 kills, 11 deaths. So 2G, we're feeling really good after that Ascent win. They're heading into Pearl. They can maybe get another upset win. But then no, Crew would make this one pretty much just a decimation of 2G, especially on their defense side. Crew would not allow a single round win from 2G on that first half. 12 rounds in a row. 2G would then respond by winning 6 in a row on their own defense side. So imagine if that just continued. We have two 12-0 sides. That would be probably the most insane match ever, but then Crew would shut down the chance of that happening at round 19, and this one's over. PXS doing a decent job here, being the only player on his team that went positive, 15 kills for him. On the side of Crew, great job by both Melzer and Mazzino once again tying for 18 kills apiece. Looking at the team MVPs on the side of Crew, we have Melzer who went 44, 36, and 27 for +8. On the side of 2G, Luis was leading the server with 51 kills, 40 deaths, 17 assists for +11. So Crew end up avoiding that embarrassing upset win and continuing their dominance in their own group. They have this weird thing going on right now where when they lose a map, they seem to get destroyed on whatever map that is, but then they seem to have pretty good composure after getting blown out and are just able to start playing like the gods of the game that they are. They are a wild team to watch, honestly, but they still look like the best team in their group. They're looking quite good right now. And 2G are looking a lot better than what a lot of people expected. I still don't know if they end up getting a second win during this group stage. They are in a very tough group. They are up against 100 Thieves next, and then they end the stage against Sentinels, so I could see the 100 Thieves match as winnable, but they're on a hot streak as well. So we will end up seeing what happens, but either way, it seems like it's going to be a pretty interesting end to the stage for this team. Moving on to the second match of Saturdays, we have an absolute stomping of G2 versus Energy. This one was an easy, and I do really mean easy, win for the best team in the Americas right now. Energy, a team that has been very inconsistent this year, sometimes looking like a solid team, sometimes just absolutely collapsing. There was a small chance that they would be able to win this match, but they couldn't even win that many rounds, winning 7 total in 2 maps. G2 was calling circles around them, they were shooting circles around them. It was just an absolute disaster on the side of Energy. And the disaster starts on Lotus, which would end up being a 13-1 win for G2. This one was Energy's pick, which evidently was not a good idea. G2 are very good on this map. G2 would start strong by winning the first 7 rounds in a row. Energy would break that streak at round 8, but they already burned 2 timeouts. And then G2 wouldn't let Energy get a single round after that, just stomping out any hope for this team being even in this match. Giacomo running circles around this team, 27 kills, only 7 deaths. He was +20. Absolutely insane performance by him. The rest of his team didn't really have to do much, but even they played well. On the side of Energy, no one was able to get even 10 kills. The most they had was Brock with 8. All negatives across the board. Finesse only getting 5 kills. Mata, their star duelist player, only getting 6. And then the disaster would continue into Ascent. It wouldn't start that way though. Energy did win that first pistol, so hey, maybe they have a chance, right? Nope, G2 would respond by winning 9 rounds in a row after that one, so maybe that pistol win only made them angrier. 10-2 at the half, G2 win the pistol. It's not looking great for Energy here. They would get 4 round wins in a row to make it 6, but this one was over very quick as well. Giacomo yet again playing very well on the Waylay. Really like his Waylay. He looks phenomenal on it. 19 kills for him. Only one player on G2 going negative. That was Valen, who had 12 kills and 16 deaths. So if that's the worst that I can find, then this team did pretty well. On the side of Energy, some of these players would have better maps on this one. Ethan would have 13 kills this time. Mata, a bit of a bounce back with 15 kills, just not much to go off of here. Looking at the team MVPs on the side of G2, we have Giacomo, who went 46, 20, and 9 for +26. And on the side of Energy, the best I could do was Brock, who went 20, 25, and 11 for -5. So G2 did what everybody expected them to and win this match, but they did it in an absolute stomping, decimating this Energy team that was desperate for the win, that really needed that win to be able to make it into playoffs. Now they have a 1-2 record, which is tied with Leviatan, so they still have a chance to make it into that 4th spot, but every very loss that they have just makes that even harder. They are up against MIBR next. That's a team that almost beat G2, so you can imagine that they are not the favorites heading into that one. It's just looking rough for this Energy team. I think the most they can hope for is a 2-3 record and getting in off of a tiebreaker, but even that is looking hard. Moving on to the Sunday matches, we have another stomp to talk about, and that is Leviatan versus Furia. This was a 2-0 win for Leviatan, doing a much better job than they have done in previous matches during this stage. Heading into this match, both teams were looking in complete disarray. Leviatan, with their role swaps, had not been playing well, and Furia, while their new addition in Prize was looking decent, overall their year has gone not as planned. So some would say that this was a battle of the worst teams in the league, but it ended up going Leviatan's way in pretty convincing fashion. Looking at map 1, we have Ascent, this one being Furia's pick, would be a 13-4 win in favor of Leviatan. Lev would win the first 5 rounds in a row, Furia would respond with 4 to end the half, but still 8-4 for Leviatan, and then Lev would have a very solid attack side, winning the only 5 rounds that they needed, not allowing Furia to get a single win on that second half. Prize, as I said, he's playing decently overall. He had 14 kills, 13 deaths. He was the only positive on his team. Havoc and Rafa struggling on this one, 17 kills apiece for them. Calm, a player who has been desperately in need of a bounce back game. He's looked pretty rough this year, but he had 21 kills in this one. He was plus 14, so he was their best player. Demon 1, also a player needing a bounce back, 16 kills for him. He was plus 4. Moving on to map 2, we have Pearl. This one did not go better for Furia. They only got 1 more round win in this one. Leviatan would win the pistol. We end up getting an 8-4 half again for Leviatan, and then they continue their strong play into the second half. 3 round wins in a row. Furia would get 1 this time on the second half, but that was all they could muster. Heat doing a decent job on the Vi, 16 kills, the only positive for his team. Prize, a slow map for him, only 6 kills, he was minus 10. On the side of Leviatan, we have the King Duelist actually bearing fruit this time, first time that that's happened. I know he did decent on Ascent on the Waylay too. 18 kills for him, he was plus 9, 19 kills for Tex, another player who's needed a bounce back, he was plus 9 as well. Looking at the team MVPs on the side of the Leviatan, we have Calm. I thought I could shout him out. I could have put King as well, but I put Calm. He went 30, 18, and 16. He was plus 12 on the match. On the side of Furia, not much praise to go around, but Heat went 25, 29, and 5 for minus 4. So Leviatan get that first win of the stage. If they lost this one, they would have been out of it. Furia still technically has a chance to make playoffs, but the 2 teams that they're chasing are 2 teams that they just lost to, so it's just not looking very likely for them at the moment. We'll see if they can maybe get a win in their last 2 matches, but it does not look likely. They're up against C9 next, who have looked a lot stronger than they have. Moving on to the last match of the weekend, we have MIBR versus C9. Probably the best match of the entire weekend. This one was very close. Both teams could have won this one at multiple times, but MIBR off the back has some very strong play by both Cortesia and Ospos would end up getting this one done. The battle of Oxy versus Ospos, Vic versus Genom and Cortesia, this one was an absolute banger. MIBR would blow 2 separate leads during this match in both map 2 and map 3. However, they would win both of those maps, so hey, that shows that they have resilience. Looking at map 1, we have Pearl. This one was MIBR's pick, but they would lose this one 13-9. MIBR would start strong by winning the first 4 rounds in a row, but then C9 would respond with 3. Pretty even half to end this one. It was 7-5 for MIBR, but then C9 would have a very strong attack half, winning the first 4 rounds of the second half. MIBR could only get 2 on their defense side. Vic and Zeppa leading the way for their team, 20 kills apiece for both of them. Oxy would have a good map as well, but he would get a lot better later on. He had 18 kills in this one. Cortesia with probably his best match of 2025 so far. He would have 20 kills on this one on the Vise. Verna would have a strong map as well with 15 kills. He was plus 1. Ospos 17 kills, 17 deaths, so not his greatest performance overall. Moving on to map 2, we have Lotus. This one being C9's pick, and this one was an insane one. 15-13 was the final score for this one. MIBR having a large lead at the half. They won the pistol. They had a 9-3 lead heading into the second half, but then C9 would win 6 rounds in a row to tie it. So the 9-3 curse trying to make its way back in this one. 2 rounds in a row for MIBR around 19 and 20. C9 would get 2 of their own. MIBR get to match point. C9 tie it. We head into overtime. C9 would win the first one, but then MIBR would win 3 in a row to end this one. MIBR have been very good at overtime this year. I don't know if they've lost in overtime so far. Net's having a fantastic map for himself. 23 kills on the Cypher. Oxy, while he would be minus 4, he would have some very impactful kills in this one. He had 21 kills, 25 deaths. And Mitch and Vic both having very strong performances. So C9 were really gunning to take this one. On the side of MIBR, Verno with a strong map, 19 kills on the Tejo, some very big impact there. Cortesia, another strong map for him on the Vice, 21 kills for him. Genom with 22, Ospos with 23. So MIBR had a big lead, then they blew it. They had to win it in overtime, so we head into map 3, and they end up having a big lead again. But then they almost blow that one as well. C9 would win the pistol, but then MIBR would respond by taking the lead back. It's tied at 3 at round 6. And then MIBR wins 6 rounds in a row to make it 9-3 at the half yet again. They win 2 more rounds in a row to start the second half. It's an 11-3 lead for the Brazilians. But then 5 rounds in a row for C9 would make this one scary for them. MIBR would get 1 more round to get to match point. They have 4 chances to take this one. C9 win 3 rounds in a row, but can't bring it to overtime. This one was just an absolute nail biter in that last round. Oxy looking like a superstar in this one. Really glad to see him have a really good map. He was tearing them apart on that C site. 27 kills on the Jet, very strong map. Vic as well, looking like one of the better offseason pickups in the Americas over the offseason. He's been phenomenal for C9, 18 kills for him. Ospos matching Oxy's amount of kill with 27. He was plus 13. Cortesia, another very strong map. 3 maps in a row, getting over 20 kills. He had 22 kills on this one. Looking at the team MVPs on the side of MIBR, we have Cortesia going 63, 49, and 16 for plus 14. And on the side of C9, it could have been Vic, but decided to go with Oxy, who's finally looking like that superstar player again. He went 66, 63, and 12 for plus 3. So an absolute nail biter of a match. MIBR making it scary for their fans. They seem to be a heart attack team this year where they will have comfortable leads and then just end up blowing them, but still end up winning the map. They have a weird thing about doing that. They did it at kickoff a lot as well. So very interesting team we have here. And for C9, it's not the worst loss. They could have locked down playoffs by winning this one, but that did not happen. They still looked like one of the better teams in their group. They're up against Furia next, so they can win that one pretty easily. So they are still in a pretty good position to be probably that 3rd spot in their group. So those are all the matches that I have to talk about today. Let me know in the comment section down below, what did you think of all these matches? How do you think that changes things for playoffs? Very high stakes in the Americas right now. Every game is a must win for every single team. Very interested to see how this round robin stage ends over the next 2 weeks. Look out for updated power rankings the next day or 2, as well as a bunch of other videos before the weekend. Please click like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you guys next one. Bye.